sugar cakes. Today you're going to be joining me as I play Lust Odyssey. Now, Lust Odyssey is a visual novel, choose your own adventure game, RPG. It's a lot of things mixed together. It's created by someone called Experiment, and you can play a free build right now on itch.io, or you can subscribe to his Patreon and play the latest build at the time. But the free build is pretty meaty, and that's what we're going to be playing today. So stay tuned.
Yeah, Peach is a winner!
Okay, so this is Lust Odyssey. We start our adventure waking up in complete darkness. We don't know where we are, and we're feeling around, we're fumbling around trying to see what's going on. We later find out that we are in some type of shaft, and there is this grate under us, so we kick the grate and we fall through into this empty room. So we kick the grate and we fall into this room. It's a bedroom with a bed, a bathroom, some drawers, and a window showing that we are in outer space. At this moment in time, we find out that we don't know who we are or what our name is or what we're doing here or where we are. So then we look in the mirror. This is where the game lets us customize our character. You can have the body of a man or a woman. You can decide whether you're more on the chubby, pudgy side, or if you're just jacked with no body fat at all. You can decide whether you're shaved or hairy, and you can decide what's between your legs. And depending on what you pick, you can decide how long it is. After that, you can choose your skin tone, your eye color, and your hair color. I chose a character that looks mostly like me, so we'll go from there. We open this drawer in the room and we find this communication device. It's an earpiece and a watch, and it starts speaking to you in this gobbledygook language until finally it realizes that you speak English and that it needs to speak English for you to understand what it's saying. You give it a name. I named it Mitch. So Mitch is my own personal AI. I don't know my name, but I say my name is Pajamakin because my name is Pajamakin. Mitch starts to explain to me where I am, but some of the information is just not getting through. So it's not much of any information other than what I already know, that I'm on a spaceship. Mitch and I decide that we need to investigate to see what's going on and where we are. But before that, he does come to realization that with me only speaking English, I need to be able to communicate with other beings. So he shoots something through my brain, connecting him to my brain. And now I am able to understand all languages, or as he said, most languages. So we head out of the door and go up the elevator, and we are greeted with a bloodbath. There was some type of battle going on here, bullet holes, blood everywhere. And I started to get a little shaken. I go in the laboratory and I see these creatures growing in these pods, and I'm sitting here wondering, was I one of those creatures? Because remember, I still don't know who I am. But Mitch does manage to calm me down, saying it doesn't really matter because I'm alive, I'm here. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Try not to focus too much on what you don't know. Then we go to the bridge and we see that the engines are at 50% capacity. So now we're figuring out that we need to do a little bit of work to the ship to get anywhere, or else we're just gonna be drifting off in space. Next, we go back up the elevator and head to the lunchroom, where I am blindsided by some strange man. He has me bent over on the table. So he's got both my hands behind my back, face first on the table, booty in the air. And he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, you need to let go of me. He's like, you go answer these questions first. So I did what any sensible person would do, and I just started throwing my ass in a circle on his junk. And I think he liked that a little bit too much because he started trying to get a little party going. I was like, wait, hold up. You need to calm down. I'm just trying to get out of this grip. So he lets me go, and I explain that, first of all, I am no threat to you. I'm booty naked. You're the one with a weapon. You clearly know how to fight. I don't know how to fight. So yeah, calm down. And I tell him I have amnesia and I don't know what's going on. He then goes on to tell me that the reason I'm naked is probably his doing because he's kind of, I think he said just stripped all the clothes out of, he did something with all the clothes on the ship. I can't remember. So we sit down, we have a bite to eat. And what I ate was kind of gross, but kind of good. Y'all know when you eat something, it's like the texture's bad, but the taste is good, but it just still didn't really sit well with you. We had that thing going on. So I ask him who he is and what's going on. He lets me know that he's a soldier and his job was to defend this ship. And that obviously did not go over very well. Apparently the ship was taken over by some space pirates, and that's when the battle ensued, leaving him as the sole survivor. Did I mention his name is Ryland? His name is Ryland. He also goes over how the ship was creating metahumans, which are bigger and stronger humans that have been mutated through genetic research. And that kind of took me out because I'm a big fan of DC Comics, and metahuman to me is like a DC Comics term, but that's neither here nor there. He later goes on to explain that he is not a metahuman. However, the captain of the ship was a metahuman and the only metahuman on the ship. But that's about all he knows. He doesn't really know a whole lot about the research. He said he's just a soldier, so all he has to do is just protect the ship. That's all he knows. He does go on to tell us that the only reason he's still alive is because he was knocked unconscious, and I guess they just thought he was dead. And all this happened 7 days ago, so a week has passed since this attack. So I asked him, do you remember seeing me on the ship? And he said, no, because he would have remembered a face as beautiful as mine. Now, one thing I have not mentioned yet, our character is horny. And when I say horny, I mean our AI chip Mitch has mentioned that our hormone levels are off the charts, or I guess our libido levels are like going crazy. So our character, just by hearing that, is getting all hot up under the collar. So Ryland sees this and he decides to flirt with us a little bit, and I decide to flirt back and accept the compliment. We go back to the main area and Ryland goes to what he has now claimed to be his room to get me some clothes. And he says that if we're going to continue whatever this is, investigating, researching, I'm going to need to learn some self-defense because I was way too easily taken down. But before that, he said we need to have some sex because apparently my body is doing things that the human body does when the human body is very aroused. So I accept this offer and we do it. Now, I do have to take a minute out to discuss something here, and that is how in-depth your decisions are in this game. So when we initiate our intimate encounter, he asks me to get on my knees. You either have the choice of getting on your knees or telling him that he needs to get on his knees, or telling him that he needs to get on his knees. Now, it doesn't stop there. Obviously, if you tell him he needs to get on his knees, that would be him taking what's considered the more submissive approach. But if you decide to agree to get on your knees, you have another choice, and that is either to let him take control of you acting like a bobblehead on the dashboard, or are you going to bat his hands away and just take full control yourself? This game has a very in-depth system of dominance and submission when it comes to the depth of the character you're playing. And each decision that you make is going to change the way that the characters perceive you going forward. And I'll touch a little bit more on this on a later scene, but we do it. But we do it and we do it good. And he's getting all dizzy, but I'm ready for round two. You know, I'm just like, ooh, yes. So we decide to do some sparring. He gives me some armor to put on and we begin. Now, this is our battle system. You can punch, you can attack, defend, wait, use items, among other things. But I noticed that there's this butt cheek icon that said T, so I hit that button to see what it was gonna do. And apparently, I don't know if I started twerking or grinding or hunching on him. I don't know what I was doing, but he started getting all hot and bothered. And if I did it too much to him, he would strip off all his clothes and say, wait, hold up. You need to finish what you started. So he started doing the hunching and he started hunching and grinding whatever he was doing to me. So my character decides to call off the fight because I guess he too good at twerking or grinding, whatever he was doing. He's too good at it, and we can't fight. Or I guess we were fighting. We can't do what we're doing anymore. We're too flustered. So he takes me into the captain's bedroom, and we do it again. Later, he takes me out for another sparring session where I either have the choice to be gentle or not hold back on him. Which this does reflect your relationship, but I'm not quite sure to what degree. So after that, I do a little bit more investigating, and I find that there is an engine at the bottom section of the ship, and I don't know how to work with it, so I come to Ryland and ask him for help. He comes down and he looks at the situation, and he literally knows just about as much as I do. So he says, I'm just gonna cross all these wires until finally it just evens itself out and works. So after 20 minutes, he connects a few of the wires properly. And now all of a sudden he has to go pee. So he's like, bro, you need to move out of the way. I gotta go back upstairs and pee. And I'm like, that's gonna take you a minute to go up there and pee and come back down. You need to finish doing this before you pee. He's like, I got a bladder full of piss. You need to move. So at this point, I have the option to either let him pass, or I'm gonna stand my ground and be like, you're not leaving. So I stand my ground. I say, I'm tired of waiting. You're already taking a long time trying to fix this. I'm not letting you go upstairs. If you have to pee, you're just gonna have to pee on me. I'm sorry. And he said, okay. So when I tell y'all that this man peed all over me, like, he wasn't lying when he said he was holding that in, because I was drenched. I can't, because we're on YouTube, I can't fully describe how much urine that was, but not only did he urinate all over me, we did other things after he urinated on me. And actually, while he was urinating on me, we were doing a lot of things. So this got nasty real quick. So after we had crazy, sexy fun time, I noticed this like medallion pop up next to him. And that's the respect system. So depending on the actions that you choose, the characters will either grow to respect you, or they will grow to not have nearly as much respect for you. So if you choose more dominant options against the characters, like if you're more dominant, you have more of a leadership drive, the character's going to have more respect for you. And your sexual encounters will have you being the more dominant sexual partner. Whereas if you choose more submissive ways of acting towards these characters, they're going to have less respect for you, and your sexual encounters will have you being the more submissive, probably bottom in these sexual encounters. And I have to admit, I still don't quite know how I feel about what that is kind of saying, but I think it also kind of heavily depends on the actions. I am noticing that you only lose respect if you do not act like a leader. And I had to think about it. I was like, okay, if I was doing something that somebody asked me to do and I had to go use the bathroom, I'm like, you need to move, I gotta pee. And they sat there and told me they don't feel like waiting on me to pee. I need to pee on them. And I whipped it out and just peed all over them and just used them as a personal toilet. I don't know if I would have the most respect for that person. I gotta be, having fun is one thing, but in that situation, I think, yeah, I would lose respect for that person. I was a bit afraid that it was implying that submissive people command less respect, but when I put into context the story and how our main character is laid out, it makes a lot more sense. You have to be a leader in this situation. And if you are going to be submissive and kind of like, oh no, I can't do anything. Yes, people are going to lose respect for you, and they're going to snatch you up and have you all around that, just move you every which way they want. So I can get behind it. So he fixes the engine and we are steering towards a planet. It's going to take a while for us to get there, so I go to sleep. And I have this dream or a vision of my life back on Earth with a man. And it looks like we're getting on some type of spaceship. It looks like we're getting on a spaceship and going to live on another planet off of Earth. But I wake up before I get any answers to really anything that's happening. So we crash land. We don't crash. We land on a planet called Accra, which Ryland tells me he's been to before. It's very dangerous, very street, very cutthroat. You got to know what you're doing. And he says we got to fix up the ship and we might have to recruit some more people. But we can't be following each other because if I remember correctly, he said he's kind of known and it wouldn't be good for us to be like latched on to each other. I need to be more independent, blah, blah, blah. But he's still going to be on the ship to chill and sleep. Like he's still going to be stationed on the ship. It's just when we're out in the city, we're not really going to be with each other. So he gives me 10 credits just to, help me get by. And he tells me to go to this club where this guy, Galliano, will be able to help me, and he says take care of me. So I head on to this club. I go to the club where I meet this hunky purple bartender, and I tell him that I need to meet Galliano. He asks me who I am, and I say I'm a captain of a ship, and he's basically like, well, captains inspire respect, and you're only human, and you don't look very tough. You look more like you want to get down to your knees. So I make the choice to bash his face against the table like, who are you talking to like that? I'ma show you respect. And then, some of the people at the club kind of tried to jump me and he was like, no, it's good. I provoked him. And apparently he has a problem with provoking people and getting hands put on him. So I didn't feel bad about what I did. Then in comes this prince. I think his name is Prince Kiris. And he has this very intimidating interaction with the bartender, to which he says that he needs to speak to Galliano as well. And very quickly, we see that this prince is not to be messed with. We learn this prince is not to be messed with, and he has some business that he wants to deal with concerning Galliano. After he leaves, I talk to the bartender for a little longer. I get to know him a little bit. A bit of lore exploration. So he finally brings me to Galliano. And when I meet Galliano, that is when the bartender then introduces himself. His name is Egon. Egon and Galliano have a bit of back and forth, and I explain to Galliano my situation, that I need some money to get my ship fixed. Galliano said that if I want to work for him, I need to prove myself. So he gives me an assignment. Galliano says that he will only help me if I could prove myself worthy to him, and that is by taking on the task of going to the sewers, going underground, and killing these monsters that are terrorizing people. I say I'm up to the task, and I thought I was until I went down there and got my butt beat, to which I woke up in the ship where Ryland had to give me some health packs. So wasn't quite ready for that. But later on, I did get my lick back. But I clearly see that is not going to be my fastest way of getting money. And we are being charged 20 gil or 20 gold coins or whatever the currency is. We're being charged 20 gold coins per day for our ship being there. So we're going to be like constantly in the red if I don't get money. I go on the streets and meet this forearm mechanic named Qatari. And through some talking, to letting him know my situation and seeing that he has a disgusting, nasty boss that he can't stand, he decides to join my crew. So I let him sleep on the ship. And he gives me a bit more information about what's wrong with the ship and what all I'm gonna need to fix it. And he's offering that if I could just make the money and buy the parts, that he could fix the whole ship. So that's good news. Problem is, I can't beat these monsters right now, and I need some money. So I go in the back alley and I see this big monster man trying to get it on with this young guy. And poor young guy can't take what monster man is trying to serve up. So I tell the monster man like, hey, I could do it better. So I tell the monster man, hey, I could do you one better. But I kind of spoke too soon because I tried, but yeah, it didn't go great. But you know what? He gave me 20 coins. So for the rest For the majority of the rest of this playthrough, I alternated between giving that monster man some at the back alley and killing monsters underground while also leveling up my character and buying supplies. And there is one little interaction me and Qatari had where he said he a hugger and we got all huggy, and he was hugging on me and he started grabbing on my booty. So I started grabbing on his booty and we were like, oops, sorry, we didn't mean to grab on each other's booty. We just started kind of feeling some type of way. So me and Qatari are probably gonna be doing some things later on. But that's where I stopped on this gameplay. I have to say, I got really immersed in this. I think the writing is really, really good. You know, sometimes with visual novels that are heavily text, I know that sounds crazy, but you know, it's a two-way street because, you know, it's a visual novel. So there's art and text. And this one is heavy text. Like the art is there to accommodate it, but it's mostly text. Usually where there is so much more text than art, I can get kind of bored, but just the way this is written is just it just has me very immersed. And I really like the way they incorporate role-playing game mechanics, such as the respect system, the upgrading your character, the battle system. I think that was all honestly put in this game flawlessly, if I'm being completely honest. So I really recommend that you guys go check this game out on itch.io. It is completely free, this build of the game, and I'm not even anywhere close to being done with this build of the game yet. It's completely free. Now, obviously, if you go to their Patreon, you will get an updated build of the game with more CGs and stuff added. But also, everyone, let me know if you want me to make this a series and talk about my continued adventures in Lust Odyssey. I'm really curious as to what you guys think. I actually started out making a video of me like just reading all the dialogue, but I was like, that is way too much talking. That's gonna get so boring. But if y'all think that would be interesting, of me like just playing and trying to have more commentary on me playing, I could try that too. But until next time, see you guys.
Hi guys, thanks for making it through to the end. Be sure to like and leave a comment, and even subscribe if you aren't already. And be sure to share the video with your friends too. Until next time.